Okay, so this was a movie about a 45-year-old single white man who desperately wants a family, and I can't relate to this at all.
Oh, whoa, that was
I
so sad.
the thought did cross my mind
You know?
once or twice. I was like, I wonder if Josh is like, maybe like connected to this in any way.
Wait, Josh, I didn't know you
I
wanted
guess we'll
a
find out.
family. When I told you I wanted to have a baby, you were like, "Ew, really?" One time, so I figured you didn't want any kids. So,
Like,
learning something new about you today, I guess.
Wow, how about
it's
that?
like, ew, I want to have kids. Ew. Ew.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
even if you
I
want them, they are kind of gross.
Yeah,
exactly, and I think we nailed the intro, guys. Well,
yeah.
Kelly, at this point we play your excellent theme music, and we'll be deleting over this part, except for people on the YouTube video who will be getting the full experience.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the full Monty.
yeah, the full thing. All right, so I'm about to bring us back in live, Cassie. You ready?
Mhm.
All right. Wait, what's this movie called? Is it Together Together?
Together.
Great. All right, we're back live with Josh and Cassie. Yell about movies. Yes, I'm Josh, a freelance entertainment journalist, and Cassie has a news title which I can't quite understand. Cassie, could you explain what your news title is exactly?
A news, like what I do for my job. I'm a promotions producer.
Well, there you go.
Not
Well,
that crazy.
I know and also you said you're a TV newser, so I just hadn't heard the term before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, TV news are, that's what, like, when you work anything in TV news, we call ourselves TV newsers. I don't know. It's just like a term of endearment we use for ourselves, I guess. To not
Fascinating.
retain. I
Fascinating.
don't
And Terms of Endearment is a great movie. And we also have a fantastic guest today coming live to the
Yay.
show all the way from somewhere in California.
Long Beach,
Long
California.
Beach,
My goodness.
California. California. Kelly Dwyer promoting her brand new show, Dog Otainment. She
Jumped
does the
right in.
theme she does the theme song and the exit music of the show, and we're so excited to have her on. Everybody, welcome.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Like, honestly, it's been a joy listening to the show. And my husband is more of a cinephile than I am. I should have taken my braces out. I'm probably going to list the whole time. But maybe I'll sneak it while you guys are yelling, as you are wont to do. But yeah, it was. Then I was like, maybe perhaps I should have picked something a little more cerebral. But I think this has a lot to dig into. So I
Yeah,
think we
it
can.
does.
I think we
It,
can do
I
it.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
All
I think
right.
they wanted to dig. I think they were trying to dig in, and maybe didn't quite. They didn't find the right shovel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who knows? We're a weekly movie review podcast talking about new release films to find out what you guys are talking about so we can connect with you perhaps. And that film today is Together. A semi romance of some sort comedy about a
Not
surrogate
a romance
motherhood.
though.
What's that?
Not a romance though. Like
Not,
I think
not.
it's like a new trend. Like the trend is like we do hetero friendship films
There you
now.
go. It's a new
You
thing.
know.
It's a new thing. It's a new thing by a director who's only directed one previous film 6 years ago, known for one writing credit on Law and Order, and Ed Helms, known for The Office, and an actress I have not seen before. Let's get into it. What do you guys think about Together?
I mean, overall, my feelings are positive. Overall, I did read that it was
Yeah.
filmed in like 17 days.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Um, and yeah, and as far as the writing goes, I mean, a lot of it felt like improvised to me. I mean, it was very chattery. It was very like, it didn't
Talking
feel
heads.
like,
Definitely
yeah,
talking heads. Yeah,
it
they were like,
it
let's
was.
do a scene like this.
Right. It was like one kind of awkward conversation after another is kind of the feeling I had at first. I was like, is this gonna get any less awkward? Because it's kind of the
Ugh.
same thing.
Yeah, it
you
grew
know,
on me though. It
it
grew on me.
did.
Like in the beginning, it was like I'm sorry, Ed Helms was really. I mean, it was a little about What About Bob for me in the beginning, where it was just like I was so grated by him and so like a little scared
Yes, right.
by
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
that I was like, is this gonna be okay? Like I
Yeah.
was almost like Craig, like, oh, what have I done? What have I picked this movie? I'm gonna have to talk about this now. But then it really did over the course of the movie. They won me over for the most part. You know.
But yeah, it did. It felt like it was trying really hard to be awkward, which is not something you experience very often in a film.
Yeah.
And it also, yeah, and it also felt like they weren't reciting lines, like they were just kind of going for it. Was the
There's a lot of
right? Yeah, exactly.
And scene.
Yeah. I also loved it. I was taken a little back when, with 11 minutes left in the film, she said "I love you," and I was like, "Really? After all that? Okay."
Well, she meant as a friend.
Yeah.
I really do believe that this feels like a trend to me. This isn't the first movie, and right off the top of my head, I can't think of the other one that I was going to say, but it does feel like we're dipping our toe into some kind of new territory where the film is about friendship, rather a female male,
Right.
you know, like men and women can be friends. It's not all they're not all going to end up marrying each other. I did very much, and I don't want to get to the end yet, but I did very much appreciate the end of the movie. I thought it was a great scene to end on and a great moment to kind of leave you leave you sort of going, oh well, wow, that gives me a lot to think about. I always think movies go like about 5 minutes too long. You know, like they're like, man, if they would have just shaved off that last 5 minutes, it would have been. They really would have said something because you would have been left to think of some, whatever went on, from there on your own. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Also, at the beginning, I was very confused. I don't know if you guys were, because I didn't read anything about the film. I don't like to be, for these movie reviews, I don't want to know anything. You guys want to see it, I want to see it. It looked like a therapy session in a furniture store, so I was very confused.
I thought it was either like a first date, like a speed date thing, or like she was being interviewed by someone who was like a matchmaker type of a thing. That's what I thought when the film first started.
It's a little bit of a job interview for a dating. I don't, it's like it was very like, and that kind of made me anxious, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, well, am I even gonna? What is this going to be like this the whole time?
Yeah.
I don't know why I get so anxious in the beginning of movies, but I get really invested and right away, and then I'm like, ooh, am I invested in something I'm not gonna even understand where they're coming from? And again, back to your thought, Cassie, is that it did seem very much like maybe they were sort of improvising, and then they kept what they liked from that scene or whatever. So.
And I mean, it would make sense because Ed Helms has a background in that, right? I mean, he did a lot of improv, and The Office, like so much of that was improv as well. We know now, so
right,
yeah.
and it can work. And I did feel that there was a definite direction to this movie. I don't know a lot, like Josh was saying. I don't know a lot. What was the other movie that she directed 6 years ago?
It was a movie no one I know or has ever seen, but let's just say she's been in and around Hollywood for a long time, and this is probably her passion project. Got a big name actor attached to it, so it's a big deal for her, I'm sure.
Oh, there were lots of great comedy actors in this movie.
Yeah.
And it felt very much like they were trying to hold everyone back from being really funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like the direction might have been something like, we want you to be awkward and intense, but not funny. Like no big LOLs here. I don't know what it was. It did feel a little stifled and a little like these great Tig, who I love.
Yeah, they really held Tig back. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's just so good. I mean, her face alone. Oh, and the nurse. The technician.
She's my favorite character. She's my favorite.
Amazing. She's like my new favorite thing for sure. And we got our big comedy relief from her, I think, really. So, it was almost two straight men.
Right,
old
yeah.
term, the old termy, a
Yeah.
straight person, but that doesn't even, then that sounds even weirder. But yeah, then maybe that's where the awkwardness was coming from. That the comedy relief wasn't exactly ever there. It was like holding off an orgasm or something. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Which sort of
Just
fitting.
edging for 90 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
I think maybe they'd seen too many Ben Stiller movies and they didn't want it to go into that cringe territory, perhaps,
Right.
Maybe that's an idea,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like the awkward humor throughout. Ed Helms light, so to speak. Like when she pats him. There's a pat on the back. Great job in there, he says, and gives her this giant bear. Like she did like a poop, like you're a toddler. Pooping for the first time. Great job, buddy.
And she's like, "Is this for the baby? Maybe you should just hang on to this for a while."
Yeah.
I thought the scene was very sweet when they were choosing a paint color together. That was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think that's when it started to win me over. I was like, okay, they're starting to chill out together instead of like
annoying each other, like when he started talking about, you can have the baby if you want to, but not if you don't, if you're pro-choice, that's okay, whatever. He was doing his full The Office character thing right at that point.
And that's a good, I think, lead into like some of the bigger things they were trying to talk about in this film that I feel like, again, it was a little bit of the edging idea, Cassie, that you threw out there. But you know what I'm saying. It was, I think they were going towards, it was being a surrogate for a single male is kind of new territory, very new territory. I thought it was an interesting topic for sure. I again felt like they didn't really totally go for it in a way that I was wholly satisfied at the end. And another, they did have, it feels like they had these like quick conversations about deep topics like pro-choice and pro-life and that sort of thing. And I never really quite felt they got there fully with anything, and it could have been an improv aspect that they were sort of kind of jumping around a lot, and just that's the way they wanted to play it,
Yeah.
Well,
they dipped their toe in the water, but they never really dove all the way in a lot of ways.
Well, I had a thought that maybe it's because they made it too much of an ensemble piece. Like they didn't need, like her gay friend at the coffee shop, for instance, did they? I mean, he was an interesting character, but maybe that took away from character development between the two of them, perhaps.
I love that guy though. I forget his name, but
right.
It's funny too.
I think he made them more fun. I always thought when they were together with a third person, they were much funnier and much more relatable.
Sure.
Like when they were just together, I was like,
very static like almost, right?
A sexless, sexless marriage after 15 years. Like some of it was, like we're gonna eat spaghetti together now, and we're gonna sleep together and not have sex. It was just really like, but when there was a third, even the her sister's friend, when they met up with her in the shop. The maternity shop.
Right.
That was fun, more not fun, but more insightful.
Well, because the third person is us, right? It's like us, the way we feel when we're watching them, going, "What is that? What's happening here?" Right? It's like you're seeing that on screen. Yeah.
We're underdeveloped, but I don't know how much we needed. It was her story. They never developed either story, his or hers. I felt like they could have picked a lane more and really said,
that's true.
Okay, well, let's go for it through her story. And yes, we'll know obviously a lot about him. But it was like she had this, family that she didn't speak to in this prior pregnancy when she was very young. But it never really went anywhere. And then he, we kind of met his family. And
I was thinking his character was so lucky to have a family that was so supportive. They kind of questioned it at first, but after that, they're all there for like his baby shower, and I thought, wow, I feel like if this happened in the real world, people might be a lot more judgmental.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, it all depends on the situation, but.
Yeah, and I thought she was pretty restrained for a guy who was kind of acting like a weird stalker at first, showing up at her house, and then there's a guy that comes out, and he's like, "Did you guys just do it?" Yeah. And then she doesn't flip out at him. Wow.
That was awkward and very creepy. But she has this big money situation that she really wants to go to school. Again, not super developed idea. We aren't really super like crazy invested in it. She's not like, she has a cute little place, and she seems like, but she does seem she's wandering aimlessly through life.
Yeah.
And they're in such different places in their lives, and I felt like that was an interesting, juxtaposition. And I enjoyed the conversation about the older, May December romance, so to speak. My brother he's 47, 47. He's got a 22-year-old girlfriend.
Wow.
He's been with for a couple of years. And I'm very judgmental about it, and I don't love it.
Okay.
At all. And I really enjoyed the way that she made him understand about it.
Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm.
That idea. I don't know. What do you guys into that May December thing?
Well, now I want to know more about your brother and his girlfriend. But I'm not like, I want to know how that all happened. Like, but you want
to develop that backstory.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the quick aside. I mean, he and my sister-in-law were married for 13 years, got divorced. They have 3 kids. He was out for about a year and met this girl on Tinder. They connected, as you can do. I wonder
kids
what they
today.
On, guys.
Kids today.
Huh?
Oh my God.
And they're living together, and they've actually been together for almost 3 years now, which is shocking. Yes. Well, I should probably drop it there in case.
That's fine.
I was trying not to do the math on the ages there, so she was 19 when they first met, and he was like 43.
Correct.
So, okay,
Yes.
that's a lot.
But yeah, and I was like, he's like, she just some younger women like older men, and I said, well, you do know her brain doesn't stop developing till she's 24, so she's still a child and unable to really make a good decision. She's only 5 years older than your oldest son.
Which is a great segue into that scene where they're talking about Woody Allen films. Thanks a lot for that introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally.
That was, very meta. Very. He was like, "Are you sure about this?" She was like, "It's like a Woody Allen film." And then he tries to. What did you guys think of his response to how he defends their situation? How it's not a Woody Allen film.
Yeah, I was nodding along in agreement actually as she was talking about that, because I was like, yeah, no, she's absolutely right. Also, why are all of Woody Allen's films all like that? I mean, we know why, but yeah, but also I think from Ed Helms' character's point of view, he just seems to weirdly innocent about the whole thing. I think he honestly he didn't understand why there couldn't be anything between them. And at a certain point, I mean, she said she was 26. I actually thought she seemed a little older.
Yeah.
But would I be totally grossed out if I heard about a 26 and a 45-year-old? No. It just depends on the couple, I think.
Right.
And I guess that's not really even what you asked. I don't know. You could tell they were very different. They were just very different people who had very different thoughts on pretty much everything in life, and they're like oil and water, which is why they probably never would have worked as a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I think the breakdown of the Woody Allen stuff was only important as, well, first of all, yeah, it's important to what's happening and what we know now, and what we've known for quite some time.
Right.
It was nice to see a Hollywood movie actually look you in the face and say, "This, we know this, and
yeah,
this is
totally,
really, this is a serious thing, serious problem." But I think the thing that the ending was that, he got it. That was him getting it. So
yeah.
I guess that was a useful tool. Not only for the writing, but also for everybody maybe out there that maybe sees this film. You can tell this film, they wanted the most broad spectrum of people to enjoy this movie, and that's a little bit why I wasn't won over by it. It didn't, seem like, well, let's really go for it in a way that some people are gonna be really pissed off about this, and then not agree, and maybe we're gonna get some backlash. It was more like, let's make sure everyone's
they played it very safe.
You know, for that reason, when you say that, it's reminding me in a tangential way of the movie Dan in Real Life, starring another character from The Office, Steve Carell, in a serious film that had tried to introduce some comedy elements into it, but ended up being a little too melodramatic and not settled in from one good point of view, like you were saying.
I saw that film in the theater when it came out when I was in college. I think I couldn't even tell you what happened during it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It wasn't in my homework, Josh.
Yes, I know. Do you guys like it when a character sort of reveals, like, you know, it's like those wish for, want for songs, you know, like that moment when they were talking about how come you're alone, and he sort of reveals all his character's motivations. Do you guys like when movies do that, or do you felt this one needed it? He said, when I hang out with settled friends, I feel sad for what I want, and when I hang out with single friends, I feel sad for what I have and I don't want.
I thought that was an okay response, and I liked it because I kind of wanted to know too, I guess. I also kind of hate that question though of like, why are you single? I think it's like rude and annoying as someone who's always single. But if I were in that situation where I was carrying someone's child because they wanted a child even though I was alone, like I might be like, hey, like, why are you doing this alone? Like, I might be more apt to just be curious about that, especially if I was the one carrying the baby. But I did want to know.
Answer a lot of probably messed up questions, right? If you're in either of their positions, you know, you have to really get to know somebody that you might not ever. You know, I have friends that they're a gay couple of men, and they had a friend, a woman, and she agreed to have a baby for them. They both donated sperm. They just mixed it all up, and they said they don't really know. And they had one, and then she said, I'll do it again. And she had another, so they have two, a girl and a non-binary child. And, you know, it's a really interesting journey, you know, that I kind of lived just vicariously through them. And honestly, and there was a documentary made about them, but I would really love to kind of see that movie more. You know, I think there's a little more, I don't know. I did enjoy the single male heterosexual man who wants to have a baby, you know, by himself.
Yeah. There was a film a few years back with I can't remember his name, the guy from Parks and Rec, where he has a baby with his best friend, and they're just, I think it's called Friends with Kids. Does that sound familiar? Okay, but it takes the
guy with the big beard, Aziz Ansari, which
no, the white, you know, Leslie Knope's husband. They get married.
The guy from Party Down, right?
Adam Scott.
Scott, yeah.
They're like best friends, BFFs for years and years, and they both want a baby. So then they have a baby, but then of course they wind up together in the end, even though they think they like each other. So that goes the way you would expect it to go. But yeah, like I feel like there's lots of different variations of this story that could be done, and some of them have been done, but there's more that have yet to be done.
And maybe this is a nice foray into that.
Yeah.
Even more so, like, I would love more like I said, you know, I mean, we just keep circling back to that idea, but this is a more committed perspective, I guess, is maybe but, you know, then again, a wide audience is, changes, often is a mind changer for people who, you know, just wouldn't normally be accepting of this sort of, you know, this doesn't sound like something, you know, we believe in, and you can kind of, it's one of those things, one of those kinds of films that it can change minds, you know, I think. So, that's a helpful thing. That's a good thing. We like that art that, you know, creates change.
If it
starts a conversation, at least, you know.
It started this one.
And ask you about that in relation to the movie. What did you think about the power dynamic where he kept asking her how much she was eating and having sex and basically being real intrusive with her personal life, just based on the fact that he paid her $15,000 to have a baby?
But now can we address the $15,000 first?
Yeah.
There's no way I would have a baby for someone for $15,000.
Seemed a little low,
They
right?
they usually pay more.
Seemed-
That was an initial
Maybe was that what it was?
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was per trimester, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wish,
that sounds
I wish,
right.
I felt like I wish they made that more clear. But okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, because I think surrogates make like a good amount.
I mean,
Which
just
I mean, they're working, right? They're pregnant
Yeah,
and
wow.
then they have to recover, and that takes like a year total at least of a commitment. So
Yeah, I'm talking. That's $100,000 job to me.
Whoa.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like your body, your body's never the same. Obviously she had a child, but that was when she was very young. Not that 26 is old, but still,
Yeah.
It's just devastates the entire body. And just
Mhm.
mentally recovering, I think too.
Yeah.
I did enjoy we did see a lot of therapy, a lot of group therapy,
Yeah.
a lot of checking in and taking care of. It was very rich white people stuff
Yes,
happening.
yes.
I didn't, other than the tech, I don't remember now.
The app was called Loner. He invented it, and that's what the gay
Oh,
guy at the
yeah.
coffee shop was looking at, and then he made this
Loner.
weird face at him like this. He's like, and he was trying to say something to him that I guessed was from the app that he would know that he knew that he uses the app, I think, and there was like a weird little exchange they had there, but they never followed up on that.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. I'd be
Oh.
down for an app called Loner though.
Right, he
I'd
was
see
the
it,
app
though.
called Loner, where you just look at other people who are alone, but you don't match with them, but you know they're out there wanting someone to connect with, and you just look at their photos.
I mean,
Anyway, but
Well,
if
it's
it were
the
free,
least amount of
if it were
pressure.
a free app, I'd download it. Sounds good to me.
I'm
Yeah.
literally wanting to look in my app store right now just to see if someone already was like,
If there's anything like it.
let's do it. There are a couple here, but I don't know if they're the same thing. So, but I was, I'm married, but I do like to. I think the almost non-pressure of interacting or pursuing something it was very intriguing there with Loner. So
yeah.
Mhm.
everybody's lonely. Like
That's
like that was another thing. It kept coming back around. Loneliness and people's interpretation of what they believe is lonely or pity or
Yeah.
pathetic or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm not. There was some defensiveness and some embracing of that kind of stuff, and I thought that was, why do you automatically assume this single guy? He's like, I'm. This is the happiest I've ever been. I'm gonna have the baby in my
That
life.
was I liked that line when he said
Mhm.
it's so weird. Everyone saying that they feel like I've given up when I've never had more hope than
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
right now. I liked that a lot.
that's
Yeah,
right.
there's some little surprising insights
Yeah.
that were very inviting, and
Yeah.
I felt like I had an invitation, and then I felt like I only clicked interested and not going.
Totally. No,
Yeah.
it's that they didn't go all in, and I wish they had.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, again, though, in the end, at the end of the movie, That's what I liked about the end. It was the development during the movie that, threw me off, but the very abrupt ending. I think it was a really unique, not unique, but it just left a lot to the imagination, which
It was unique. Yeah. I mean, it made the story about her, about Anna, right? It was, because then you're thinking, okay, what's next for her? Where Ed Helms' story. I'm calling him Ed Helms because I can't remember his name right now.
Matt, I had to write that
Yeah.
down. Otherwise, I would totally never remember it.
Going. He has his baby, and he's going to be a dad. Like we know where that's going, and
He has baby Lamp.
and yeah,
Lamp.
he has
Yeah,
Lamp.
we never talked about Lamp's little name.
So now you know, the rest of the story is Anna's. You know, this is over with. You can see she's, you know, she says, "I'm so happy for you" to Matt, and you can tell she really means it. And what's next? She's going to college. She's doing, you know, whatever she wants to do. And now it's like it's her story, and it ends on her face because it's like this is Anna's story now, right?
And, it ends on her face, but it's beautiful to hear his elation.
Yeah.
And I see him obviously because I don't think that's something we could have had a proper camera angle for.
Yeah. Yeah, we hear him and we hear the baby, but like we don't need to see it. We know, you know, we know what's happening. So we, you know, we know how happy he is. What we would want to know is what her face would look like at that moment. Sure. So yeah.
Also a bit of I think there was elation. I think it was a very complex emotion, obviously, that she was more complex than I could ever even imagine, you know. Wow, you know, like the mental, again, circling back to the mental, everyone was taken care of very well through all the stages with the mental health. And I think when you do go through something so huge and profound like that on either side, that's the only way you could possibly do it is to have that kind of, first of all, a ton of money. And a lot of assistance mentally and spiritually. The Lamaze situation when she does bring up, well, how is he gonna be between my legs for 4 to 7 minutes? That was hysterical. Like I did.
Right. It was, and everybody turns to look at them, and they're like, and the teacher, who at one point was sitting on top of a table in a very, very yoga-like pose, said, "Are you going to be okay with that?" And they all look at her, just silently judging her.
Yeah, no, she's like, "Is that a problem?" or something like that, and everyone just slowly turns and looks at her like, "Well."
It's just like, it's surreal. And I did like the yoga teacher. She was perfect, and or the Lama, whatever she was, but she the birth coach, the birth teacher, whatever. And she said, is there a third partner?
Yes, I love that. I love that.
I have to take a moment to let go.
Getting the idea of the third partner off her mind.
Yeah, what she thought that as soon as she found out they weren't together romantically, she was like, "Oh, there must be a third partner."
That was I think I laughed out loud at that part. Just letting that go. I need a moment.
It was always the third party, the third partners. Again, that brought the real laughs, right? You know, like the real laugh out loud moments were always somebody else was always there, but you know, maybe that was
that's true. Like the technician
by
with
design,
like the technician with my favorite line. I'll ask you guys yours, but for me it was when oh man, I can't remember the exact line, but basically they were asking her, "Do you really know everything?" And she was like, "Yeah, I do, but I just can't say." Do you...
Can't legally.
Yeah, can't legally say.
Yeah. I know everything. I just can't tell you.
So good.
Yeah.
You know, what do you? Yeah, I guess we covered that, but like I keep coming back to the end, and I have thought about. It's like I kind of have thought about them, you know, after the movie, and then you know a couple times after. I'm like, wonder, you know, if did they stay really good friends? Are they talking? Or do they call each other? Does she see the baby? Is she involved? Like that kind of stuff was very interesting too. She wasn't involved with her other child really, even though she said it was a close adoption, which usually means she's able.
No, she said it was a closed adoption.
Closed.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now. I was like, closed adoption. Does that mean they live close by?
No, closed adoption. So like she has no idea. Yeah.
That definitely makes that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's like, he's 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Or they're 8. I think she's pretty careful about saying they're 8 or 9 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they still never give. At the very end, Ed Helms has the last line, and he says, "Welcome to the world. You're amazing." But he still doesn't give the gender of the baby away. So that
I think he said he. Did he?
I heard him say he.
You know, guys,
he's so beautiful.
I thought Ed Helms also said that, but Put it on pause. Put the
Okay.
subtitles on. Amazon officially says
Oh.
you're. So that would imply he still isn't telling her what gender lamp is because she didn't want to know. So she was still maintaining a boundary, which was one of the themes of the film was boundaries. Like when she went to the bathroom alone to cry by herself whenever at the baby shower when all of his friends were congratulating him, and she kind of felt like a third wheel, didn't really want to be there, and then she was like, boundaries, I'm gonna go home.
And that really, that's where we changed, like, I guess that's where the whole plot, like, kind of
there was a tonal shift.
We need to separate. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl. I mean, it still had the standard kind of through line, even though it was a new take or a different take on it, we did that. I was glad there wasn't too much of that, though, because it just seemed cruel and uneven and a little, I didn't know how that was going to go. So, and she kept sitting on the floor, and I would just like to say, I've never met a pregnant woman who would sit on the floor because you can't get up. And that bothered me. I was like, where was the pregnant woman? They were like, just like that was just like weird to me.
The fact checker who was like, nope, this definitely would not be happening in real life.
Sitting on the floor without somebody there in her apartment when they're having their little separate time, their boundary, whatever. She's on the floor in front of her couch, and I just immediately, she just, I was like, how is she gonna? I guess she's gonna really have to struggle to get up. Now that could have been a funny moment, but they again didn't really go there.
Yeah.
And like her rolling over and trying to grab onto the couch, like.
I would have liked to seen some more. You're right. I would have liked to seen some more Liz Lemon, lonely white woman trying to make her way in an apartment by herself, kind of humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was very down. It was a very downtime. It was a very peer into the real world, real life kind of situation, and not a lot of let's do some physical comedy.
They could have. Yeah, they didn't do much.
Yeah, and I guess it was a choice. I didn't read a lot. Obviously, I didn't read anything about the choices because I wanted to just discuss it with open eyes and heart and stuff. But I will check, and I would like to see. And I do think as let's say the first big movie she's made in Hollywood, I could see that she could be doing great things.
Her name is Nicole Beckwith, by the way.
Right, and I would really I would see based on this. If someone said, based on this, would you see another movie? And I would say absolutely. And I think maybe she'll, how it is with Hollywood. A lot of the time, it's like, well, prove it again, and then especially with women, they're like, we're not giving you too much money in only 17 days, and these very limited things that you can have because we just don't know if it's proof of concept kind of thing. But for me, I guess the proof of concept was definitely there, even though it sometimes fell a little short. But it was sentimental. It was thought-provoking. It was a conversation starter. It had it, I think.
There you go. It had it, and an extremely awkward scene where she tries to show Ed Helms how to. The most embarrassing moment of his whole life. Remember?
And I appreciated that she did that. And that B, she said that thing that I've never put my finger on, but is a very true thing.
Yeah.
If you are incredibly embarrassed about something, you never
forget it.
Yeah. At times she seemed older than her years, wisdom-wise, for a 26-year-old, who was a loner in a coffee shop. But hey, maybe that's just the director's words coming out of her, but hey.
Yeah, but I think having her past that we do know about, it's pretty dark, and she's probably quite on her own and had to hustle for herself, and her family didn't quite seem to obviously be there for her, so she probably had to grow up sort of fast after her first pregnancy there, that would make her a little wise beyond her years, and just knowing that she could. It's a very specific type of person that could be give birth for another person.
Yeah.
It is
A woman.
So,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So.
Person with the uterus. Yeah.
Yes.
That helps.
Person with uterus. And and just a very able to compartmentalize, I guess, in a way. Sort of has. She's a unique person that had this experience in the past, so she knows that she can do it. She even says, I've done it with mine, one that was mine. I know I can do it with one that's not mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? And so it seems very much like a very specific job. Something you have to be very qualified for.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm sure, God, how many of those situations go terribly probably awry? I mean, what would you estimate as like a percentage on like when it just like, the surrogate wants to keep or just?
Well, I mean, I think it used to a lot, so now there are laws preventing that. They basically have to like sign everything away when they do. Same with adoption as well.
Okay.
So not as much as it used to. Because it's illegal at this point. But I'm sure, when it first right, exactly. I'm sure when it first started, it probably was an issue. Yeah, because, emotions would happen.
Able to have sex?
Yeah. But no, I'm sure there's probably like emotions that arise that maybe like the surrogate wasn't expecting or,
Yeah, of course. And especially, I mean, and on top of all the normal emotions that might be arising, then you have hormones.
Right.
Then you have complicated relationships with other humans in your life. Judgmental people you don't want to tell. Like, it was really interesting that she didn't want to tell anyone.
Yeah.
Very specifically, and of course people were gonna know because it's not something you can hide. But they were opposite ends of the spectrum. He was a very proud mommy, in a way. He was like, I can't wait to tell everybody. But it's them finding their way to common ground and to a shared idea of not parenthood but of this experience that they're that was I thought they did that quite well, that part.
I thought so too, and now I think it's time for final thoughts.
Cool. Wait, who's going first? Who's going?
Not it.
I can go first.
Or we could have a word from our sponsor. I mean, we could do that too.
Wait, no. Oh, Kelly's show?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Do sponsor your show, and I'll gather my thoughts, Kelly.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this amazing talk. I want to invite you cordially to a show that you can attend with your dog online. That's right. You can actually watch and interact with this live online show that I'm doing. It's called Doggotainment. It's got music, it's got tricks, treats, it's got a best in show contest where your dog can actually win prizes. It's being done on Zoom, and it's being done in a very very new sort of way that I think is gonna really make people enjoy. Come back to the Zoom room, babes. Seriously, I think it's going to be a really, really fun way to interact with the canine community and have a blast with each other. So,
well, that's it.
www.doggotainment.com. It is enjoyable for anyone, whether you have a dog or not. It's sort of like I do, obviously invite everyone. We're a very inclusive show.
Okay, good.
Wonderful. Is there a cost for the show tonight? I mean, not tonight. What did you say when it is, and how much is it?
It's $15, but
Okay.
if you direct message me or Josh or Cassie, I can give you a discount for your tickets, for $10 tickets, and that's a household ticket, so everyone in the house can attend together on one ticket.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. Before you go, could you introduce Tucker to the podcast? Is that possible?
Oh, she's napping in the other room. I have to get up and do a whole thing. That's exciting. But Tucker the Wonder Pupper is my co-star and in the show, and she and my husband he's a camera tech guy. I mean, it's really a family affair. So it's kind of really a fun way to kind of just get to know me, my new LA, or I'm not LA actually, I'm Long Beach, but you know, people think I'm LA.
That's right. That's right. And now back to Josh and Cassie, already in progress. So it sounds like.
Final thoughts. Like I said at the beginning, overall my thoughts were positive. I told Josh I mean I cry at like every movie I watch, so I guess that's not saying a lot, but I did cry a little bit when she had the baby, because you know I did think that the way their relationship progressed was sweet and unique and kind of special, and it did make me think about like, you know, relationships with guy friends that I've had in the past and stuff like that, and it's yeah, it's not like anything I've ever watched before, and so I appreciate that. At least I do wish they had like you were saying, Kelly, like just push some boundaries a little more. Maybe it would have made it a lot more memorable, because I feel like to a lot of people this might be kind of forgettable. You know, they could have done more with it. Also, the awkward conversations were kind of a lot at first.
Yes.
Like too awkward, like it felt like it was trying too hard to be uncomfortable, and you could feel that. But you know, overall, it, you know, it was moving, and I enjoyed it, and I would probably recommend it. So I would give it let's see, eight of those big pregnancy bouncy balls out of 10. I don't know what they're called.
I think that's the technical term for them.
I mean, I've seen them used for so many things. They're like, yeah, I've seen them in yoga classes. I've seen them like
desk chair. They use them as desk.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah. 8 giant inflatable bouncy balls out of 10.
Great. I'll give it 7.5 1960s circus style teddy bears out of 10.
That's so cute. Is that my cue?
Well, yes.
Just to wrap up quickly, I'm looking forward to seeing more by Nicole Beckwith. I hope this is just the beginning of kind of her foray into telling stories in Hollywood, which I think obviously we need more women's voices. And I hope she pushes boundaries. Cassie said pushes more boundaries, but this did win me over. I did enjoy I enjoyed the process of being won over. I was really kind of annoyed at first, and by the end, I thought to myself, it was a very thought-provoking ending, and it just really did make me walk away thinking the things that I think are important to kind of think about. Think. I know words. I am going to give it a 6.5. Silly Ed Helms, annoying creepiness vibes out of 10.
No one's ever rated in vibes before.
Wow. That's well, she's an original, you guys. I liked it, and we never mentioned the name of the actress that played Anna. Her name was Patty Harrison, and her face and her emotions at the end, where she was like, you could tell she was like, have a baby, or she was like, but I'm giving it to him, and it's over, and I have money, and I'm going to college. She was very confused, but glad that it was over, and maybe that was kind of all of us at the end. We were confused, happy, glad that it's over, you know. So.
I rate her hair at 10 out of 10. Her bangs.
She was
time I was watching. I was like, oh my god, her bangs are like goals. Yeah.
Do that. My bangs would. I don't have thick hair like that, so it would just be like me.
Yeah.
But
so I give
just one to watch.
8 out of 10. Bangs, 10 out of 10. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and what the?
Did we...
What? Hold.
You just